What if I told you that Wano already told us a vast amount of the One Piece world's secrets, and is the second most, if not the most important island in the story? Hi, I'm Vagabond Kana, and today I plan to not only expose Wano's crafty secrets and its relation to the moon, but also to prove to you that it's true. Do you remember the Enel cover story in which he traveled to the moon? It's one of the keys to this theory. In that cover story, he discovered a painting that showed that the winged people, the Skypians, Shandians, and Birkins, all used to reside on the moon. Now, what does this have to do with Wano? Well, there are 6 regions of Wano, and 6 families that rule different regions. Those families are Kozuki, Shimotsuki, Amatsuki, Uzuki, Fugetsu, and Kurozumi. These names are important because Kozuki stands for Light Moon, Shimotsuki stands for Frost Moon, Amatsuki stands for Heaven Moon, Uzuki stands for Rain Moon, Fugetsu stands for Wind Moon, and surprisingly enough, Kurozumi stands for Black Charcoal. Now, why do we have so many moon references here? Well, I'm a firm believer that there are multiple moons orbiting around the world. My reasons for this is because of the globe in O'Hara. Now, we can clearly see 7 moons, but one of those moons seems to orbit another moon, so it wouldn't necessarily make it a moon of the world. I'll get back to the 7th moon soon. So we have 6 moons and 6 families whose names references moons. You see where I'm going with this? But this also made me think, do the names of the family actually represent what the 6 moons are like? And more importantly, can we find out who resided there? For example, in Zou, there was a Kozuki crest there before Oden arrived. But why was it only the Kozuki crest in the land of the Minks? Why weren't any of the other families' crests there? We don't have the answer, but we all know that not only do the Minks have a close bond with the Kozuki family, but they also have a biological connection to the moon. As stated before, Kozuki means light moon, and the Minks transform into Sulong due to the light of the moon. Jinbei stated in chapter 889 that he heard that the Sulong transformation is an awakening of a Mink's deep feral memories. Memories, you say? I find that very interesting. I theorize that the light moon is specifically where they draw their power from. I also believe that the light moon is where the Minks originally resided. Now you may ask, how could the Minks have come from the moon if the Skypians, Shandorians, and Birkins came from the same place? My answer is, they didn't. The moon in which Carrot and the other Minks look at to go Sulong is a completely different moon than the one the Skypians resided at, in which Enel traveled to. The one that Enel traveled to is what I believe to be the Heaven Moon. I believe this to be the case mainly for thematic reasons. You've got the residents with the angel-like wings. Then you have Enel, who calls himself God and controls an army full of robots with wings called automata, basically setting up a God and his heavenly army reference. Little side note, but the space pirate captain that Enel fights resembles that of a dog mink. Where did he come from? Perhaps the Light Moon? His presence supports my mink speculation. Speaking of gods, let's talk about Lunarians. It's safe to say that they can go into this category too, with them having Luna, which means moon, in their name. It's kind of a dead giveaway. But most interestingly, they were referred to as gods. Is this why Enel was so adamant about getting to the moon? Is it because he viewed it as a place where a god truly belongs? Perhaps he truly viewed Fairy Verth as the heaven to his godhood. Anyways, back to the Lunarians. Which moon do they go to? My guess would be black charcoal. King's race has flame abilities, and when you burn wood and other organic things, you get charcoal. If you look at the picture of the globe, in the black and white chapter spread, you can see a moon with deep black spots. One thing I would like to mention is that take notice how the Minks, Lunarians, and Skypeans all resided or reside in higher places thousands of feet beyond normal ground. The Minks on Zunisha, the Lunarians on the Red Line, and the Skypeans and Shandorians in Skypea. Coincidence? Now, what about the other 3 moons? Who belongs there? Well, before I answer that, why don't you subscribe? And give the video a like as well while you're at it. So, now all we have left is the Frost Moon, the Rain Moon, and the Wind Moon. I'll be honest guys, I have less evidence on these, but for the fun of it, I'll give my best guess. So let's start off with the Frost Moon. Surprisingly enough, I'm going to say I believe this used to be the home of the Oni. We don't know much about the Oni at all, but I'll explain why. Do you guys remember the mini plotline in Onigashima that barely anyone liked? That's right, it's the Ice Oni virus. I found it interesting that Oda decided to put Ice and Oni together. We don't know why, but it's probably because he was trying to be cheeky and throw out little hints. Also, Yamato, who is the Oni princess, has ice powers via her devil fruit. Is this a coincidence? Now we have 2 other moons, the Rain Moon and the Wind Moon. For the Rain Moon, I'll say the fishmen and merfolk came from here, mainly due to the relation to water. And by process of elimination, that would leave the Wind Moon, and I'm going to give this one to the giants. Oh, that's right. We have one more visible moon to discuss. The 7th and smallest moon that orbits another moon. Now this moon seemingly has no relation to Wano whatsoever. There's no family name attached to it. There's no hints to who came from there or how it would look. Or is there? Keep in mind that this is the smallest moon that just seems to be more different than the others. Like an extra, not really a moon of the world, but at the same time is. Kind of like Onigashima. Not really part of Wano, but at the same time is. It's also the smallest of all regions in Wano. I believe that this is a hint from Oda of the extra moon that just happens to be small but wasn't necessarily affiliated with the others. I believe this moon to be the original home of the Tontatas. It's not crazy as it may sound. It's a dwarf moon that's occupied by dwarves. So how does this flow in the overall story? This is when we get into the celestial dragons. They call themselves gods, correct? Yet they wear attire similar to spacesuits, with bubble helmets that cover their heads. Now the in-canon reason for this is because they don't want to breathe the same air as people that they find lesser than them. But I believe this was a hint from Oda, that the Celestials believed that the gods were from space, or specifically the moons. Although, I can see why they viewed them as gods. All these different races have very unique abilities. Lunarians have the power to wield fire and increase their durability. Minks can control electricity and transform into Sulong. Fishmen can control water and are overall stronger in water. Giants are monstrously large creatures with immense strength and longevity of life. Tontatas, even though they're small, they have incredible strength greater than that of any average human. The celestial dragons probably envied these different creatures. After all, they were just regular humans. Moving back to Wano. Remember how we mentioned that the Kozukis had their crest in Zou, and how they had a close relationship with the Minks? I assume a similar thing happened with the other families and races. with the Shimotsuki family being close to the Oni race, the Amatsuki family being close to the Skypian winged race, the Uzuki family being close to the Fishman race, the Fugetsu family being close to the Giants, and the Kurozumi family being close to the Lunarians. I believe that the Kozukis might have been the leaders of the Great Kingdom allied with all the different alien races from different moons residing in the One Piece world at that time. Some of the other kingdoms were not as welcoming as the Great Kingdom, so they formed an alliance. Those kingdoms formed the world government to overthrow the Great Kingdom and rule the world. This is when the world became suppressed and divided. But that's why we have Luffy, the one who will liberate the suppressed, and with his ability to bring people together, he will also unify the divided, so that everyone can be united under one sun, together to make one piece. If you enjoyed this video, please by all means hit the like button and subscribe so you can join the Vagabond's journey. We're off to our next destination. With that said, Vagabond gone.